This is Hamp Lee III from Spiritual Combatants, where we're training soldiers for Christ. I want to thank you for being a part of our second message. Our first one was on being married but lonely, but this one is on you never have to be lonely again. And so I really wanted to touch on this, and the part that I wanted to focus on was about loneliness and how loneliness is like an identifier that our relationship with God is not where it needs to be. And so it's a good thing that you may be in that situation because you have an opportunity to address that. And so whenever we may be lonely, it may be that telltale sign that our relationship with God is not where it needs to be. And let me read to you the scripture. We'll jump right into it. So in John 16:32 and 33, Jesus is about to be betrayed, and he's giving his final instructions to his disciples before he's betrayed. And he says, "Behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall all be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone. And yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." And so you think about a time when Jesus is going to face excruciating pain. I mean, another, where he's so concerned and the anxiety is so high that he's sweating drops of blood. This is a time when we would think that he would need people the most around him. But in the hour of need, or what we may think would be a need for him, the disciples would all scatter. But he said that he wasn't alone, because the Father was with him. And when that really stuck out to me, I was like, wow, here it is in a moment of need. He still says, I'm not alone. Even though you will all scatter and go your own way, I'm not alone. And so that makes me think about, okay, what situations or the relationship that I need to have with God, to where regardless of whether or not my spouse, friends, other family members, daughter, whoever is in my life or not, regardless of where they are, they all leave, then I don't have to feel alone, because I have a relationship built up to where I know that he's with me. And so it's not a knock on you if you're in a situation, you say, hey, I am married and I'm lonely. And so there's been some days where I've had to deal with and address that in my own life as well. But what I want to do is I want to build up, and in the previous video I talked about just the relationship part, but I really want to build up all of our very holy faith in God, so that our trust is in him, but not our confidence in man. Our trust in God, because regardless of who goes where or what they do, Jesus will never leave us. God is always there for us. He'll never leave us, never forsake us. And so as he's always there, it's that steady constant that doesn't change. And the issue with that was for Jesus, and let me read John 2. Jesus didn't put his trust in man. He says in John 2:24-25, he says, "But Jesus, for his part, did not entrust himself to them, because he knew all people and understood the superficiality and fickleness of human nature." And I'll just read 24. So if you think about that, I was in the Amplified version. And so you think about that, the fickleness and superficiality. So you're looking at people are up, people are down, people are up, people are down. And sometimes if we put our trust in man or in our spouses, our children, or someone else, you would ride the wave. It's like roller coaster. They up, you up. They down, you down. And you never have this steady, calm balance. But then when your trust is in God, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When they're down, you're just kind of riding along. They're up, you're just riding along. You're always steady on God, always focused on him, because you placed your trust in him and not your confidence in man. And that scripture comes in Psalms 118:8. Let me read that. "It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man." And so in the previous video, I talked about these connection points that a lot of men and women in relationships want, and it's through compassion, which could be through intimacy and love, that type of thing, communion, where you have time together, and then also communication. And just like the relationship that you have, you also need the same thing with the Lord. You need those connection points of compassion, of love for him, also the communion, spending time with him, and then also to communicate with him. And so the three ways that you're going to do that, the first one is through prayer. And so I'm praying to God. And oftentimes I've said in some other videos as well, I share with God my very rawest thoughts and emotions. And I've learned that from my reading in the Psalms. And so I really believe that reading the Psalms is a great help for anyone to learn about the intimacy of a relationship between a man and his God. And so you really want to read the Psalms. That's my highest recommendation for you, because you'll see that relationship unfold, and you'll see a man that just comes before God very bare, very open, and shares his heart with him. And that's what I often do, share with God my exact emotions, how I'm feeling about things, and I'm coming to him with prayer, just pouring out myself before him. And then also, the secondly is music. And so there's different types of music across the Christendom, but I try to find music when we're talking about like in the goal of developing the trust. I want worship music that helps me feel like I'm in the throne room. The only thing, there's some music that the only person you think of is God. You don't think of anyone else but the Lord. You don't think about what your mama doing. You don't think about your clothes at home. And sometimes you may be at church and you singing some praise and worship songs, but you thinking about what you're gonna do when you get home, or you think about some other task or something else going on. I'm talking about music where everything's gone. You lose track of time. You don't know where anything is. All I know is my time is in worship to you, oh Lord. I had a moment like that today, and it was an enjoyable moment where all I was caught up in was just in worshiping the Lord and acknowledging who he is in my life and what he's done and how he's first loved me. I was singing Israel New Breed, and it was just an awesome song, awesome experience. But I want to make sure that I'm building that up through the prayer, and also through music, through my praise, and through my worship, especially my worship of him. And then also in the word, which I talked about reading through the Psalms. And so what these do is these help to build your knowledge of God. Now, we can't know everything about God. He's so vast. It's so vast. I don't think, as deep as we can go, we probably still won't even scratch the surface of knowing him. But then also it builds the knowledge of him, and also acknowledging God. It helps us to acknowledge who he is, and it helps to develop our trust. And so the word trust in the Hebrew from Psalms 118 means to flee for protection, to confide in, to have hope, to make a refuge. And think about that, to flee for protection, that I trust him, that I know that this is a safe place. And a lot of times you think in the natural, some people may go to a car or a house and they feel like this is a safe place for me, or my work, this is where I feel safe. I'm going for safety. And then I'm going to confide in him. So if I trust him, I'm going to tell him my innermost secrets, the things that I probably don't tell other people. No one else knows, but he knows. And he knows anyway, but it's our opportunity to pour ourselves and pour out our hearts before him. And then I'm having hope in him. I'm trusting that in the future things. And then he's also my refuge. He's also my place of safety. And so when you have this level of trust in God, and that's why I was talking about when, that loneliness, you won't feel alone. Because there may be some days where we're working through, okay, this person left and I have to deal with that. Or maybe your spouse may come against you because, as Jesus says, a man's foes may be those or those in his own household. Whatever can be going on internally, externally. So a person comes, they go, they leave, they enter in, whatever happens, I'm still steady. I'm still steady because I'm working on my relationship with God. I'm working on my relationship with him to build the trust, to build those connection points. That's something that I am intentionally going out to do, to make sure I'm developing the passion, I'm developing the communion, the time, and then I'm also developing my time of communication through prayer. And so those are very, very important. So let me read to you. I'm going to close this really quick. I want to read Psalms 40. And so as I read it, I want you to read, and you can read, I'm reading through the King James Bible, but read the elements of the things that I'm talking about, the things that he speaks of, how he pours his heart out, and kind of all the different elements of what he's saying about a relationship with the Lord and building the trust in him. All right. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it, and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is the man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord, my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to usward. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine ears have not thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me. I will do thy will. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips. O Lord, thou knowest. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed thy loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me. For innumerable evils have compassed about me. Mine iniquities have taken hold upon me, so that I am not able to look up. They are more than the hairs of mine head. Therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backward and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate for a reward of their shame, that say unto me, Aha, aha. Let those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continually, The Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my deliverer. Make no tarrying, O my God. A man who loves the Lord, that's sharing his heart with us. And I pray that as we talk about never being lonely, you never have to be lonely again as you develop and cultivate your relationship with the Lord. You never have to be lonely, regardless of who's in your life and where. We do want to have our relationship, and I think everybody does. No one gets married and say they want to have a bad relationship, but sometimes there's certain things that's going on, whatever may be happening within a relationship, your confidence can't be in man. It has to be in God. And as a husband, I'm going to do what I can to build loving relationships and to love my wife as Christ loved the church. That is my desire. And so I'm going to continue to go after that. But my confidence in my wife cannot be greater than my trust in God. And so I want to be able to develop it and cultivate it, have those connection points again through my compassion, through my communion, and also through my communication. So I pray the Lord bless you through this message. Please take some time to go back over both messages to review them. You don't have to, you can be married, but not lonely, because when you have that relationship with God, you are never lonely. So may the Lord bless you. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, hit me up in the comments, shoot me an email, and I will continue to respond to you and help you the best way I can to be a faithful disciple unto Jesus Christ. So may the Lord bless you abundantly. God bless.